Part 10. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 91. Chapter 91. I never help in vain. A good girl like Yezioksun has probably never encountered this kind of bullying on campus. So Muniankai's behavior just now really scared her. Xia Ying hugged her and tried to give her some encouragement. Okay, it's all over. Xia Ying patted Yezioksun's back and whispered, "It's class, let's go back." Yezioksun nodded. Report. As this clear and moving voice sounded, the entire classroom's attention was attracted to Xia Ying. Teacher Li Mu nodded and let them in. The teacher in the entire office just talked about Muniankai's incident. Fortunately, Xia Ying looked good and was not injured. Otherwise, Guanjiang's reputation would definitely be ruined by Muniankai. Xia Ying is the daughter of the Xia family, one of the four major families in the imperial capital, and a child star. If she is beaten up by a group of people in school, and that person is the daughter of the principal, if word spreads, Guanjiang's reputation will definitely be ruined. What's more, Guanyang is about to hold its 100th anniversary, and there is no room for mistakes at this time. You are quite smart. After Xia Ying sat down, Jun Chenai beside her said this slowly. Xia Ying glanced at him and didn't answer. Xia Ying turned around and looked at Xia Menjian. It was Xia Menjian's turn next. Xia Ying originally wanted to take care of Xia Menjian after she was admitted to Tiandu University, because in her previous life, Xia Menjian also started to disintegrate Xia Ying and her family step by step at that time. But now it seems that she can't wait any longer. Jun Chenai, do you know a powerful agent? Xia Ying suddenly asked. What do you want to do? Jun Chenai glanced at Xia Ying warily. I want to investigate a person. Do what? Jun Chenai frowned. You don't need to know this. Why do you think I will help you? Jun Chenai twitched the corner of his mouth and smiled playfully. Isn't it a piece of cake for you? Xia Ying asked back. The Jun family was always divided into black and white, so Xia Ying felt that Jun Chenai definitely knew those very powerful people, such as hackers and agents. That's true, but I never help others in vain. Jun Chenai chuckled. Then how did you agree to help? Xia Ying was helpless. Unless you do me a favor too. What? I'll tell you when I think about it. Jun Chenai smiled meaningfully. Let me state it first, don't go too far. Xia Ying said. How much can you let me go too far? Xia Ying gritted her teeth. Jun Chenai, if you don't hurt me, will my whole body itch and my orifices bleed to death? I haven't tried it, what if it really works? Jun Chenai answered slowly. Xia Ying lost her temper. She was generous and not as knowledgeable as him. You want a powerful agent? Well, it's the kind of person who can investigate any information. Jun Chenai glanced sideways at Xia Ying. Yes, but you're not planning to do anything illegal, are you? Of course not. Xia Ying shook her head firmly. What's so fun about that? Jun Chenai sneered. Ah. Xia Ying doesn't understand Jun Chenai's brain circuit very well. It's not illegal the same as it's not fun? It seems like she knows something she shouldn't know. Jun Chenai slowly picked up a pen and wrote a series of numbers for Xia Ying. His phone number, you can contact him, he will definitely help you. Really? Xia Ying blinked and looked at Jun Chenai. Don't you need to tell him or something? Jun Chenai twitched his lips and said, no, he is eager for you to contact him. What? Xia Ying frowned. Nothing. Guess who that powerful agent is? End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 92. Chapter 92. Apologize to me in front of all the teachers and students in the school. After school, Xia Ying was called to the principal's office. It was obvious that since she was his daughter after all, the principal certainly didn't want to fire Muniankai just like that. Therefore, he had no choice but to please Xia Ying and ask Muniankai to apologize to Xia Ying. Furthermore, Xia Ying was not injured, and he felt there was no need to expel Muniankai in accordance with school rules. Principal, don't you think that doing this will make the classmates in the school gossip? Xia Ying said coldly. Xia Ying, that's enough. Have I touched a hair on your head? Muniankai said angrily. Xia Ying sneered, it's just that you can't move. You. Muniankai gritted her teeth and glared at Xia Ying, what do you think makes me proud? I won't let you go. Nian Chi. The principal stopped Muniankai angrily, you're like this, why don't you admit your mistake? Muniankai had no choice but to be angry but not speak out. How about this? Xia Ying smiled lightly, I have no intention of pursuing it to the end, but for the sake of your reputation, principal. I think it is necessary for Muniankai to admit her mistakes in front of the entire school during the flag-raising ceremony on Monday, not just for me and the classmates who were bullied by her in the past, this is more reasonable. You're dreaming. Muniankai scolded angrily, you want me to apologize to you in public, you really have a beautiful idea. Nian Chi, the principal is also very troubled by his disobedient daughter. There are always a lot of things in the school, and now it is approaching the centenary anniversary, but her daughter is still causing trouble for him at this juncture. He has already she made her head and too big. Just do it the way you said. The principal said helplessly. In fact, he also thinks that Xia Ying's method is good. It can not only restore some people's hearts, but also let everyone see Muniankai's repentance and give Muniankai a chance to avoid being expelled according to school rules. Dad. Muniankai was about to collapse. For a face-saving person like her, admitting her mistake and apologizing to Xia Ying in front of the whole school was as embarrassing as a slap in the face. She would rather be fired, it would be too embarrassing. Stop talking, Dad can't help you this time. If you do this again next time, just do it yourself. The principal said. Damn it. Muniankai clenched her fists angrily and stared at Xia Ying's leaving figure. After Xia Menjian rested for a few days, she finally came to school. However, in the past few days when Xia Menjian was away, there was never any news about her. Sun Han's group of people added fuel to the fire and spread lies, saying that Xia Menjian was deliberately scalded by Xia Ying, and they made it sound like a god. Over time, Xia Ying has been labeled a bad guy. Xia Ying opened her mouth and said that she couldn't win thousands of tickets from them. At first she even explained, but later she didn't bother to care anymore. One day after school, Xia Ying saw Xia Menjian as soon as she left the teaching building. Xia Menjian stood there, as if waiting for her. Xia Ying curled her lips, as if she hadn't seen her, and turned around to leave to the other school gate. Sister Sakura. Xia Menjian chased after her. Xia Ying breathed a long sigh of relief, feeling helpless and looking back at her coldly. What do you want to do? Sister Xia Ying, I still want to explain it to you. As Xia Menjian spoke, she glanced ahead and to the right. Explain what? Xia Ying is annoyed when she sees her now. She definitely asks Sun Han and Muniankai to spread the news. Sister Xia Ying, those words are really not what I said to them, do you believe me? Thanks to the little cutie Aikingzi's 1,000 paper cranes for the reward. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuan Suya. Chapter 93. Chapter 93 Nightmare Level White Lotus. Xia Menjian suddenly burst into tears, and Xia Ying was confused by her. Xia Menjian pulled Xia Ying's sleeves and cried until the pear blossoms started to rain, immediately attracting the students on the road. Sister Xiaoying, please believe me, in fact, I am helpless. I want them to shut up, but I really have no choice. Sister Xiaoying, please don't isolate me all the time, okay? Sister Xiaoying, please forgive me. Xia Menjian held Xia Ying's wrist tightly, and then Xia Menjian's hand pinched Xia Ying's arm deliberately. Xia Ying screamed in pain, and then subconsciously broke away from Xia Menjian. Then, Xia Menjian immediately fell backwards. The look made it look as if Xia Ying had pushed her down on purpose. Ah! Xia Ying looked at Xia Menjian on the ground with dark eyes, and then she knew Xia Menjian's intention. Hanzija arrived just in time and witnessed all this. In his opinion, it was Xia Ying who pushed Xia Menjian down on purpose. Hanzija quickly ran over and helped Xia Menjian up, asking nervously, "Menjian, are you okay?" "Xia, you're going too far," Hanzija angrily scolded Xia Ying. "It's okay to burn Menjian like this. Why don't you come here to bully her before she's fully recovered?" Xia Ying sneered, feeling that Hanzija was really pathetic. From the beginning to the end, Xia Menjian was just using him, but he was always happy to be used. When Xia Menjian needed him, she would rush there. Xia Menjian was really clever. She calculated that Hanzija would come here at this time and deliberately performed such a play for him. Of course, Hanzija has always protected Xia Menjian. Seeing Xia Ying treat Xia Menjian like this, she must have said all kinds of unpleasant things to Xia Ying. Then people who don't know the truth will be misled by Hanzija and really think that Xia Ying is making things difficult for Xia Menjian at home. Xia Ying breathed a long sigh of relief. Xia Menjian was really powerful. Compared with the nightmare-level White Lotus, Mu Niankai was nothing to mention. "Menjian, can you stand up?" Hanzija's face was full of distress, and Xia Menjian screamed in pain, as if she had bruised her arm. Hanzija was furious when he saw Xia Menjian was injured, and glared at Xia Ying angrily. "Hanzija, are you stupid? If I really wanted to deal with your sweetheart, would I use such a useless method? Push her in front of so many people." Xia Ying had an incomprehensible smile on her lips, staring at Xia Menjian, who was pretending to be soft and weak. "What do you mean? Do you want to tell me that it was Menjian who fell to the ground?" Hanzija angrily rebuked. He clearly saw that Xia Menjian was recommended by Xia Ying. What else could she have to argue with? "Now, see for yourself what this is." Xia Ying exposed the arm where Xia Menjian pinched her just now, and a red mark on her fair arm was particularly eye-catching. Xia Ying glanced at Xia Menjian and said calmly. She knew what Xia Menjian was thinking. She just wanted to act. As a movie queen in her previous life, she didn't mind acting with her. As soon as Xia Ying finished speaking, not only Hanzija but also the passers-by were stunned. Oh my god, did Xia Menjian pinch Xia Ying just now and let Xia Ying push her? Then why did she lie? She pretended that Xia Ying pushed her on purpose. And why would she do this to Xia Menjian in public? Xia Ying is not stupid. Even if she doesn't like her, she wouldn't be stupid enough to bully Xia Menjian in front of so many people, right? Xia Menjian's face suddenly became panicked as she listened to the discussions of the people around her. Thanks to the little cuties Old City Kong Nian and AIGN 11's paper crane for their rewards. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuan Suya. Chapter 94. Chapter 94, Lying Without Drafting. Xia Menjian grabbed Hanzija's arm and said aggrievedly to Hanzija, "Zija, I didn't pinch her. I don't know how she got that mark." Xia Menjian said, squeezing out a few more tears and looking at Xia Ying pitifully, "Sister Xia Ying, can you believe me? I have no reason to treat you like this." Xia Ying twitched her lips coldly. Xia Menjian really has many tricks. Seeing that it was no longer possible to frame her and push her down, he pointed the finger at spreading rumors again. Everyone felt that Xia Ying was being aggressive and making things difficult for her at home. "My surname is Xia. Menjian has always respected you as a sister, There is no way she would spread such rumors. Hanzija saw Xia Menjian's appearance and came to help again. Xia Ying snorted coldly, "One Menjian at a time, you two are really close. I remember Xia Menjian told me before that she was not familiar with you, but now it seems that you two have been together for a long time. Xia Menjian Yan, you hide it very well. While you like my tutor Yu Lingfeng, you are secretly hooking up with my ex-boyfriend, tisk tisk tisk." Xia Menjian's lips trembled slightly. She did not expect that Xia Ying would use this to fight back. Xia Menjian lowered her head guiltily and did not look at Xia Ying. After hearing this, Hanzija opened his eyes wide and asked Xia Menjian, "Who is Yu Lingfeng?" Xia Menjian was anxious and angry, "I don't know what she is talking about, she is framing me." Hanzija clenched his fists. No wonder he felt that Xia Menjian had become more and more cold towards him recently and was no longer willing to meet him. It turned out that she had a new love. "Zija, that's not the case. You believe me?" Xia Menjian was still trying her best to explain. Xia Ying curled her lips. Seeing Hanzija's dejected look, she must have believed her words. "It's time for this stupid guy to have some brains. Zija, we grew up together. You should not distrust me." Xia Menjian was crying so hard that when Hanzija saw her like this, he immediately softened his heart. "Growing up together?" Xia Ying frowned. It turned out that Hanzija and Xia Menjian were childhood sweethearts. No wonder Hanzija was so dedicated to Xia Menjian. It seems that she has been in love with Xia Menjian since she was a child. Hanzija clenched his fist and continued to point the finger at Xia Ying, "Don't even think about driving a wedge between me and Meng Yan. I know better than you what kind of person she is." Xia Ying held her forehead helplessly. Hanzija had reached the extreme point of stupidity, and there was no way she could save him. "Hanzija, since you insist on deceiving yourself, I have nothing more to say," Xia Ying said coldly. Xia Menjian cried so hard that the people around me felt pity for her. Xia Menjian has a weak and innocent appearance, and coupled with her incredible acting skills, she naturally made the crowd fall in love with her. Xia Ying's face darkened and she sneered coldly, "So you're trying to avoid the important thing? At first, you gave others the illusion that I was bullying you, but now when you are asked to explain the relationship, you change the subject. Xia Ying Menjian, why didn't you make a draft before you lied? It is simply full of loopholes and extremely ridiculous." Thanks to the little cuties Chang Xiaoyuji and Daign 11,000 paper cranes for their rewards. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuan Suya. Chapter 95. Chapter 95 Annual White Lotus Award. Damn, why do I think Xia Menjian is a scheming person the more I look at her? I also think what Xia Ying said makes sense. Oh, I really don't see people like this who cry and cry to gain sympathy when something happens. To be honest, I thought it was Xia Ying who burned Xia Menjian at first, but now it seems that Xia Menjian is really scheming. That's right, only the two of them knew about the burn. She didn't spread the news. Could it be that Xia Ying herself spread the news to frame herself? Xia Menjian listened to the comments of the people around her, trembling and lowering her head in embarrassment, without making a sound. No matter what time, she likes to pretend to be such a weak person to contrast Xia Ying's aggressiveness. Do you understand? Hanzija, if you still have any sense, you should know the cause and effect of this matter. After Xia Ying finished speaking, she turned around and left. She really doesn't have the time to spend so much time like this. Hanzija was stunned in place, pursed his lips tightly and thinking about something, but did not say a word. On her way home, Xia Ying thought of the number Jun Chenai I gave her, and then dialed it immediately, but... Sorry, the number you dialed is temporarily unavailable. I called several times but could not get through. Xia Ying was confused. Well, maybe an agent is busy. After all, Jun Chennai said that he was a top agent and there was no data or information that he could not find. Xia Ying returned home and locked herself in the room. Xia Ying's room is very large, including a room where she practices musical instruments, and a hidden compartment where she secretly posts and writes songs. Xia Ying entered the room where she practiced her musical instrument. She had not touched the instrument for a while and spent the weekend reviewing her lessons. Xia Ying looked at every instrument in her musical instrument room: piano, violin, guhan, dulcimer. She likes music and musical instruments. Every musical instrument here is her friend. Since she has decided not to release any more songs this year, she will spend the remaining time practicing her instrument. She not only wants to be the greatest singer, but also the top musician. She will realize all the dreams that were left unfinished in her previous life. Xia Ying has been talented in music since she was a child. Other children are forced by their parents to learn musical instruments, but Xia Ying has shown a strong interest in musical instruments since she was a child. Simply, Xia's parents let her learn. Xia Ying learns much faster than the average person, so she has learned many more instruments than many of her peers in the same time. Even though she hasn't touched it for several months, as soon as Xia Ying's hands touch the keys, the sense of rhythm still surrounds her immediately. Xia Ying opened the door only when the servant was about to knock it down. Xia Ying walked to the dining table and looked at Xia Menjian. Xia Menjian had wounds on her arms and there were still tears on her face. Oh! This frame-up failed in front of her classmates, so she plans to do it again in front of her parents? Xia Ying curled her lips and smiled softly. It was really incredible. Xia Ying, I heard from the classmate who sent Menjian home today that you injured Menjian's hand. Xia Chuanhai asked with a deep breath. Xia Ying seemed to have not heard anything and kept eating in silence. Xia Chuanhai was slightly angry. Xia Ying, did you hear me? Xia Chuanhai felt a little cold towards Xia Ying. She still couldn't accept Xia Menjian as her younger sister, so she still bullied her today. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 96. Chapter 96, Stand Still, I Will Come to You. Xia Ying raised her eyes slowly and looked at Xia Chuanhai. What do you think? What do you mean I think, did you do it? Xia Ying glanced at Xia Menjian, lowered her head, twitching, with an aggrieved look on her face. Very good, full marks for her acting skills. Kawame, I believe in Sakura, she won't do this. Luo Xian interjected. You won't do this? People have seen it with their own eyes, how can they still frame her? Dad, don't blame Sister Xia Ying, she didn't mean it. Xia Ying wanted to stand up and award her the White Lotus Award for the year. How could this be a counterpoint to her kindness and innocence and Xia Ying's viciousness and unreasonableness? Sure enough, after hearing what Xia Menjian said, Xia Chuanhai became even more convinced that Xia Ying did it on purpose. Xia Ying, you really disappoint me, apologized to Menjian quickly. Xia Chuanhai said in a serious tone. Xia Ying was angry, put down the bowl and chopsticks, and said slowly, I remember when I was a child, you taught me that you have to apologize when you make a mistake. I didn't make a mistake, why should I apologize? You dash. Xia Chuanhai was speechless for a moment and was unable to refute. Xia Ying said coldly, or, in your mind, Xia Menjian's words are the truth? There is no evidence, no investigation, or the like, what she said is what it is. I finally understand, you as expected, I still prefer her. After Xia Ying finished speaking, she left the dining table, slammed the door and left. Luo Xian chased after her. Xia Ying, where are you going? Stop her quickly. Xia Chuanhai held his forehead and sat down with a sad face. Dad, don't be too sad, it's all my fault, I shouldn't have appeared at all. Xia Menjian shed a few tears as she spoke. Luo Xian looked at Xia Chuanhai with red eyes. She couldn't understand Xia Ying's mood. For 16 years, her father was the person who loved her the most, but she found out that the person who loved her the most betrayed her and her mother, and even brought back a stranger. Luo Xian couldn't accept it at first and wanted to divorce Xia Chuanhai. But Xia Chuanhai's sincere apology still made her soften. She knew better than others how much Xia Chuanhai loved her after so many years of marriage. For so many years, Xia Chuanhai has always been a good husband and father. He is such a successful businessman, and there are a lot of women out there who want to be taken care of by him, but Luo Xian has always been the only one around him. Luo Xinci thought about it and forgave Xia Chuanhai. After all, it was just a mistake he made when he was young, because Xia Chuanhai also said that he drank too much that time and couldn't remember anything. Even he was surprised by Xia Menjian's arrival. But if Luo Xian can forgive him, Xia Ying is not certain. Because in Xia Ying's view, Xia Chuanhai actually married Xia Menjian's mother when Luo Xian was killed by Xia Menjian's mother and daughter. This alone made Xia Ying unable to forgive him in her life. Kawama, no matter what, I still believe in our little Sakura. Luo Xian walked over and said something, then sighed and turned around to leave. How could Xia Chuanhai not believe in the daughter he had raised for so many years? It's just that Xia Chuanhai felt that he was ashamed of Xia Menjian, so he naturally had to take more care of her feelings. Since it was said that Xia Ying did it, he would definitely come and ask for details, but he didn't expect that Xia Ying would say such hurtful words to him. Xia Ying was walking alone on the street. She didn't know where she was going, but at least she didn't want to go home today. Xia Ying took out her mobile phone and searched for it for a long time. Finally, she confirmed a number and dialed it. Hey, you Lingfeng, where are you? Home. I'll come find you, okay. Where are you? Near my house. Send me your location and stand still, I'll come find you. Thanks to the little cutie AI Kingsy's 1,000 paper cranes for another reward. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuan Suya. Chapter 97. Chapter 97 10 million per song. Xia Ying was sitting alone on a park bench. In order not to worry her mother, Xia Ying had told her her whereabouts. She was angry with Xia Chuanhai and had nothing to do with her mother. In this life, Xia Ying wants to protect her mother no matter what. She will take back everyone else who has hurt her one by one, including Xia Chuanhai who betrayed her and her mother. Xia Ying was still thinking about something when her cell phone rang. Xia Ying picked it up and saw that it was the powerful agent Jun Chenai I told her about. Xia Ying became excited and quickly answered the phone. Hello, it's Jun Chenai who introduced me. Little cutie, you actually took the initiative to call me. Before Xia Ying finished speaking, the other party said this excitedly. Xia Ying opened her mouth and was stunned. This voice, little cutie? Wrong, Xia. Xia Ying immediately hung up the phone without thinking. The words on the other end of the phone. Xia Ying looked up to the sky helplessly. Was Jun Chenai playing with her? Is the super powerful agent he calls Wrong Xia? Wrong Kai? Are you kidding? Xia Ying's cell phone has been ringing. It's Wrong Xia calling. Wrong Xia saw that Xia Ying had not answered his calls, so he sent a text message to bombard her. Little cutie, why did you hang up on me? It's very sad. Are you shy, little cutie? Haha, so cute. Xia Ying's face darkened when she saw the content of the text message. Could this wording be less dramatic? She didn't say anything, so he could make up so many things in his mind. Xia Ying originally wanted to talk to Jun Chenai, but she found that she didn't have his contact information at all. Forget it, I'll settle the score with him tomorrow. Xia Ying held her chin and played with her mobile phone while waiting for Yu Lingfeng. The Thornbirds' new songs are still high on the charts, occasionally pushed down by new songs from some big-name singers, but by the weekend, they returned to the top of the list. Xia Ying opened the backend of Weibo and saw a lot of private messages. Many music websites and players came to discuss cooperation with Xia Ying. They want the download copyright of Thornbird songs. Although Xia Ying's songs can now be played for free on the internet, they cannot download them because they do not have her copyright. This is an important aspect that many people complain about. It can only be listened to but not downloaded, which obviously cannot satisfy everyone. What's more, in this era, Wi-Fi is not that popular yet, and everyone uses data. Downloading songs and then playing them is a common method used by everyone. Xia Ying thought about it again and again, and decided to post a unified reply on Weibo to those companies that came to discuss copyright. Thank you all for your love and support for my songs. Since I am an individual now, I have no company or agent. So now I give a unified reply to companies that want to talk about copyright cooperation. The copyright for song downloads and playback is 10 million per song. Starting next month, websites and players without copyright are asked to delete the songs voluntarily. Thank you everyone and please support originality. After Xia Ying posted on Weibo, the comments and likes immediately exploded. It didn't take long for Thornbird song copyright fee to be on Weibo's hot search list. Shit, a song costs 10 million, why don't you just grab it? Yes, the copyright awareness of Chinese people is too weak nowadays, and it is wrong to play original songs without authorization. Support the Thornbird, support the goddess. 10 million. The goddess is so domineering. Thanks to the little cutie she ran Wei Tian for the reward. Let's talk about the update time. Now it is updated 3 times a day, one at 0 o'clock, 12 o'clock and 21 o'clock. Please forgive me for not being able to make more updates during the free period, otherwise you will be slapped with PP by the editor. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuan Suya. Chapter 98. Chapter 98. His master likes this girl a little bit. Xia Ying is checking everyone's messages. 10 million for a song is indeed a sky-high price in this era. Generally, only the top singers will have such high copyright fees. However, the popularity of Xia Ying's 3 songs can match or even surpass them, and the cumulative playback volume on the entire network has always been in the top 5. So to say 10 million for a song is actually very reasonable. Xia Ying suddenly felt a weight on her shoulders. She looked up and saw Yu Lingfeng's stern face. Yu Lingfeng put his coat on her shoulders, "Don't catch a cold." Xia Ying stood up and said, "Thank you. Why don't you go home? Can you not say it?" Xia Ying curled her lips. Yu Lingfeng frowned slightly. Although he didn't know why Xia Ying didn't go home, he was satisfied with one thing. She thought of him immediately. "Let's go." Yu Lingfeng naturally took Xia Ying's left hand and led her forward. Xia Ying was slightly stunned. It felt strange to be held by Yu Lingfeng's hand. 11 Ju also came with him. 11 Ju drove, and Xia Ying and Yu Lingfeng sat in the back. "Sakura, why do you think of us so late at night?" 11 Ju saw Xia Ying and asked. "I missed you." Xia Ying looked at 11 Ju's cute expression and couldn't help but smile. "Ha, do you miss me or my master?" Zihu said, raising his eyebrows and looking at Yu Lingfeng. Xia Ying pursed her lips and said nothing. Yu Lingfeng gave 11 Ju a look, telling him not to joke around when Xia Ying was in a bad mood. 11 Ju obediently shut his mouth. "That's Xia Menjian, have you been more honest recently?" Yu Lingfeng asked as if he thought of something. "Don't mention her, it's annoying to hear her name." Xia Ying's eyes showed impatience. What did she do again? The chill in Yu Lingfeng's eyes immediately deepened, and she waited patiently for Xia Ying's next words. Let's not talk about her anymore. No matter what dirty tricks she uses, it's useless, because I'm not afraid of her at all. Xia Ying showed a faint smile, looked at Yu Lingfeng, and told him not to worry about herself. Yu Lingfeng looked at Xia Ying thoughtfully, but finally didn't ask anything. He still has confidence in her. She wasn't fragile enough to need his interference in everything. After Xia Ying arrived at Yu Lingfeng's castle, she subconsciously turned on the flashlight on her phone. However, the next second, 11 Ju turned on the light, and the entire castle immediately lit up. Xia Ying was surprised. Yu Lingfeng, when did you put lights on at your house? She remembered that it was dark the last time she came here. Yu Lingfeng replied calmly, 11 Ju's okay, he has nothing to do anyway. Jacolin. Wow, your home is so beautiful. Xia Ying looked around. Although it was not the first time she entered Yu Lingfeng's house, this was the first time she saw clearly the furnishings in Yu Lingfeng's house. The whole style is Central European. The various vases and portraits placed look exquisite and elegant, and they are expensive at first glance. Yu Lingfeng looked at Xia Ying, who was looking around curiously, and said, there is something better, do you want to see it? Xia Ying nodded vigorously. Follow me. Xia Ying followed Yu Lingfeng up the stairs. 11 Ju subconsciously wanted to follow him, but then he saw Yu Lingfeng making a gesture to him secretly from behind. 11 Ju took back his steps and found himself in a mess. It seemed that his master liked this girl a little bit. Xia Menjian will definitely be tortured, don't worry, it will be soon. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuan Suya. Chapter 99. Chapter 99. If you are in danger, call my name. Yu Lingfeng took Xia Ying to the rooftop of their home, where a very large telescope was placed. As soon as Xia Ying came up, she was attracted by the tall machine. Xia Ying approached the telescope and touched it carefully with her hand. Yu Lingfeng, is this yours? Yu Lingfeng nodded, then walked to the telescope, adjusted some device, and said to Xia Ying, from here, you can see the stars in the sky. Wow! Xia Ying did this quickly. You can really see the stars in the sky. The rooftop of Yu Lingfeng's house has a good view. When you look up, you can see the sky full of stars. And this telescope can see the surface of stars more clearly. Do you like looking at the stars? I watch it occasionally. Yu Lingfeng stood aside and watched Xia Ying in a daze. The night wind blew slightly, and Xia Ying's long curly hair that reached her waist was swaying leisurely in the wind. Her well-proportioned and perfect profile and figure, every line on her body was extremely beautiful. Xia Ying turned her face sideways and met Yu Lingfeng's gaze. Xia Ying's smile faded. Sometimes, she always felt that there was a story in Yu Lingfeng's eyes that she couldn't understand. Yu Lingfeng approached Xia Ying, so close that Xia Ying could smell the unique fragrance of Yu Lingfeng. Give me your hand. Yu Lingfeng's commanding tone. Xia Ying stretched out her left hand inexplicably, opened her palm, and stared at Yu Lingfeng. Yu Lingfeng took out a small black chip from somewhere, probably only a few millimeters long and wide. With a serious face, he placed the small chip in Xia Ying's palm. Xia Ying saw that after the small chip fell into the palm of her hand, it suddenly turned into a puddle of water and melted into it. Xia Ying was shocked. She took back her hand and looked at her palm with wide eyes. There was nothing strange about it. What is this? Xia Ying looked up at Yu Lingfeng and asked. It's just a small machine, don't worry, it won't hurt you. Yu Lingfeng looked into Xia Ying's eyes and continued, if you encounter danger in the future, just call my name and I will appear. Xia Ying frowned in confusion. Yu Lingfeng reached out and touched Xia Ying's head, and said affectionately, "My father is an expert in robotics, so I am too." Xia Ying opened her mouth slightly in surprise. Is a small chip really so magical? At this time, Xia Ying's stomach growled very unexpectedly, and Xia Ying smiled awkwardly. What to eat? Yu Lingfeng had a smile in her eyes. Anything is fine. She is not picky about food anyway, and she is really hungry now. Are you sure you want to give up the opportunity to choose delicious food? Yu Lingfeng took her hand and led her downstairs. Xia Ying thought for a while and said weakly, "You can eat whatever you want." Yeah, Yu Lingfeng explained, 11 Ju can do anything. Wow, I can't tell. That Zihu who looks so noble and elegant is actually such a great chef. Xia Ying was still thinking about something, but she and Yu Lingfeng had already walked downstairs. What is he doing? Xia Ying exclaimed, as if she was frightened. She subconsciously leaned against Yu Lingfeng and pointed at 11 Ju, who was motionless in the corner. 11 Ju was just like Xia Ying when she saw him for the first time. He was motionless and stiff, as if someone had tapped his acupuncture points. However, now he has an extra wire behind him, connected to the socket at the back. He's charging. Yu Lingfeng's tone was calm. Thanks to the little cutie Nan's Hung girl for the reward. Author, Yuan Suya. Readership, 6746073775. Readership, 7608188045. Just add any group you want, please don't join the group again. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuan Suya. Chapter 100. Chapter 100, so handsome that it's a foul. Charge, Xia Ying was shocked. 11 Ju, is also a robot. Yu Lingfeng nodded, he is my most successful work. Xia Ying was completely speechless. She had no idea that 11 Ju would be a robot. To be honest, compared with 11 Ju and Yu Lingfeng is more like a robot. He is a super simulation robot, but it still has some flaws. Yu Lingfeng continued, I have recently been studying how to extend the service life of his mobile power supply. It is best to use wind and solar energy for energy supply. You are so awesome. Xia Ying stared blankly at Yu Lingfeng. How old did Yu Lingfeng look? 18 years old. 20 years old at most? Why is he so powerful? To be able to make such a realistic robot, Xia Ying remembers that even in 2018, the most popular simulation robot at that time was not as realistic as Zihu. Is this too much like a real person? Xia Ying didn't react for a while. If we have better materials, we can do better. Yu Lingfeng felt a little regretful. It's a pity that the technology here is too backward. We are here. Xia Ying frowned, wondering why Yu Lingfeng kept saying things she didn't understand. Scared you? Yu Lingfeng looked at the dumbfounded Xia Ying and chuckled softly. A very faint smile, but it shined brightly on Yu Lingfeng's face. The way Yu Lingfeng smiles is really beautiful. It's okay. She just couldn't accept it for a while. Just wait, it will take about half an hour to charge. Yu Lingfeng pointed to the sofa beside her, and Xia Ying sat on it. Then the last time I saw 11 Ju, he looked like that. Was it because he ran out of power? Xia Ying looked up at Yu Lingfeng and asked. Yu Lingfeng nodded, yes, Zihu had just been completed at that time and was still in the trial stage. The battery always ran out from time to time. That time he went outside to play without my permission. By the way, it has its own thinking. Xia Ying blinked. It's so scary. This is not a robot at all. Zihu likes human things very much. Yu Lingfeng continued, he is also learning human behavior and thoughts. Xia Ying looked back at 11 Ju who was charging. The world is so vast and full of wonders. The next day was the school where Yu Lingfeng sent Xia Ying to. When Yu Lingfeng, dressed in black and looking like a god, appeared at the gate of Xia Ying's school, He immediately attracted everyone's attention. Mu Niankai and the others just happened to see it. Mu Niankai stared at Yu Lingfen next to Xia Ying with gloomy eyes. Who is that handsome guy next to Xia Ying? He is really handsome. Sun Han exclaimed and looked at Yu Lingfen with a nymphomaniac expression. Humph, the little hooves can seduce people everywhere. Mu Niankai said this, turned around and left angrily. Although Mu Niankai said this, she still couldn't help but turn around and peek at Yu Lingfen. He's so handsome. At this moment, in a luxury car, a handsome young man wearing sunglasses was looking motionless at the beautiful figure of a girl outside the car window. Master Jun, why don't you get out of the car? Someone on the side said something. Jun Chennai moved his fingers and lightly opened his thin lips. Wait a moment. Jun Chennai took out his mobile phone and dialed a number. Wrong CI, help me investigate a person and I will send you a photo later. Thanks to the little cutie 47101014 for the reward. End of this chapter.